Hello everyone. Welcome to our webinar, which is broadcast every Thursday at 11 a.m. I am Serhat, and today's topic will be how is fire detection made in high ceiling areas. Today's subtopics will be how is fire detection made in high ceiling areas, introduction, mounting heights of detectors, detection principle of beam type smoke detectors, EN54 related standard clause, placement of beam type smoke detectors, and conclusion. These are the contents. Let's start. Special solutions are required for fire detection in place with high ceiling areas such as warehouses, basketball courts, mosques, cinemas, and theaters. Optical smoke detectors, which are frequently used in spaces, go into alarm when the particle density in the photoelectric cell reaches a certain level after the smoke caused by the fire reaches them. In places with high ceilings, it will take time for the smoke to rise a certain height. So, it will be late for the optical smoke detector to detect fire. As you can see from the table, according to EN54 version, optical smoke detectors can be used up to 12 meters. It can even be used up to 16 meters depending on usage and environmental conditions. Similarly, air sampling detectors can be used and heat detectors up to 7.5 meters. However, the use of beam detectors is recommended for the healthiest detection above 7 to 8 meters. Detection principle of beam type smoke detectors. Normally, the beam sent from the transmitter reaches the receiver completely. In case of fire, the beam intensity sent from the transmitter reaches the receiver by decreasing. If this decrease is less than or equal to the alarm level set by the user for 6 to 8 seconds, the detector will go into alarm. The features and performance criteria of beam type smoke detectors are specified in the EN54 12 standard. Smoke detectors to be used in the buildings must have EN54 CPR certificate issued by international accredited organizations. There are two variants of the beam type smoke detector, with transceiver unit and with reflector. Beam type smoke detectors with transceiver unit consist of two main elements, receiver and transmitter, as you can see in the picture. The receiver and transmitter are mounted opposite each other. The distance between two units should be in the range of 5 to 100 meters. Normally, the IR rays from the transmitter fall on the receiver. However, the smoke formed in the event of fire prevents the exchange of rays. This is how the detector detects that there is a fire in the area. Another type of the beam type smoke detector is reflector detectors. Beam type smoke detectors with reflectors consist of a transceiver unit and a reflector. The transceiver unit and the reflector are mounted opposite each other if single reflector is to be used up to 35 meters. If four reflectors are to be used, a distance of up to 50 meters can be left between the transceiver units. So, related standards articles. In buildings with high ceilings, it is important that all fire protection precautions, including fire compartment, smoke and heat control, fire extinguishing, etc., as well as fire detection and fire alarm system, are coordinated and their interactions are properly controlled. The requirement of this guide should be taken as a starting point only. Additional detection may be required. In places with high ceilings, the fire load is usually such that there is no need to monitor the entire level. Beam detectors should be used. Note that the resulting risks at levels higher than the temporary fire load can be considered a negligible risk. Beam detectors should be installed at a sufficient height. It's recommended that 9 meters to 12 meters. The maximum horizontal distance between two detectors is 25% of the installation height when the detectors are not within the 10% zone. Additional angle beam detectors may be considered appropriate if the detectors are ceiling mounted and there are concerns about the effect of stratification. As you can see in the picture, this is the placement of the beam type smoke detectors. The maximum horizontal distance between two detectors, as you can see, it should be 25% of the installation height when the detectors are not in the 10% zone. For example, if the floor to ceiling height is 20 meters and 10 meters high, the distance between beam detectors should be 2.5 meters. As a conclusion, according to the standards article, the most suitable solution in high ceiling places is beam type smoke detectors. Due to its particle structure, it casts rays at a certain percentage. When a solid object enters between the receiver and the transmitter, the beam exchange is prevented by about 90 to 100%. If a solid object enters between the receiver and the transmitter momentarily, after a certain delay time, between 6 to 8 seconds, if the interruption of the beam exchange continues, the detectors should go into the fault state. If the detector goes into fire state due to a solid object, false alarm condition may occur. For this reason, this feature should be taken into account when choosing a beam type smoke detector. Thank you for participating for our webinar. If you have questions, you can ask me from the chat box. And hope to see you in next week.